Wall Street is now online, baby. That's right. Visit the GW District. Shop the very best in men's and women's apparel and accessories, home decor, office supplies, books, pantry items, and so much more. The GW District is a retail marketplace of Black-owned products and media. We're both veteran and Black-owned, and we're bringing you the best online shopping experience with products made by small businesses. Come and experience the GW District difference today at shopgwdistrict.com. That's shopgwdistrict.com. The GW District, a retail marketplace of Black-owned products and media.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Welcome to Pilgrim on Wrestling with your host Billy Pilgrim, giving you that good wrestling punditry, giving you that old school feel with a new school type thought process every Wednesday night. So, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the show? So here's Billy Pilgrim.
Hey, man.
What's going on, brethren?
Nothing. Just, just enjoying the silence.
He's home alone. Oh my goodness, man. How long? Okay, first of all, when was the last? How long has it been since we recorded?
I think it might have been like a couple of weeks because Miami, and I think maybe I had the whole thing going on with Miami. Plus, I was having ear issues. I was having ear infections, and there was a whole big thing going on in my ears. And you were moving while working, while recording 257 podcasts a week.
Yeah.
So and let's face it, I think we're a pretty damn fine wrestling podcast with a lot of potential, but we're not Jim Cornette, Brian Last. So the masses weren't exactly burning down the house that we took a slight hiatus, for a couple of weeks. So,
but it's all good because we're back, and so because we have so much to talk about, let me just go and get this out the way. Welcome to Pilgrim on Wrestling here in this premium smoke room. I am your host, Calvin Southern Champ, and let me introduce you to the man of the hour, the guy who has actually leveled up since you last talked to us. He know how to sling that dick, and he also know how to make you laugh. At the same token, he'll give you that grandpa view of bullshit fucking wrestling. I'm talking about Billy Pilgrim.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like you anymore. If you're gonna make me talk about SummerSlam, I mean, just
you knew you had to end up watching it at some point. It's just funny that the wife pulled you in. That what made it funny. That what made me laugh. I said
I just for the sake of the show and that really I have it now. I have it on the background. Like I'm kind of speeding through the one part I saw, and people are like, oh, it's gonna be different now, and I'm like, yeah, look, it's even if I was given 1,000% control over WWE, it's gonna take the rule of thumb. If you listen to any book, it takes like 3 months.
Yeah,
because you gotta get new players involved. You gotta give them a reason why. Wow, Tommaso Ciampa has a look of a guy who just. Like like that look of I did the right thing and I married her. And now, somewhere in the world, there's an irresponsible douchebag just relaxing on a beach with a smile on his face, and I'm here.
All I'm gonna say is this, and then we're going to say that to the pro wrestling smoke side of things, because people, man, we have a lot to unpack. Oh fuck, y'all just don't realize this might be Nice long ass show for real. All I'm gonna say is this: I can tell it was a reset. I can tell it was somewhat a reset, and I leave it at that, and I expound upon that when the time comes. So, since we have not recorded in a minute, Mr. Pilgrim has been putting in work, and your Exxxotica seemed like it was pretty good. It seemed like you had a pretty good Exxxotica, sir.
It was good. It was weird in one way in that there was a lot of people I wanted to meet and see again, and that weirdly enough wasn't like all these people that you even said on Twitter, "Look, I can't wait to meet you." It just weirdly enough, the way the I don't know, the expo floor seemed like they tried to put too much on the floor. It was like kind of overcrowded. The first night there was no AC. I actually got real dressed up because I was like, coming off my blush shoot, and I was like, I had to do business cards and the stickers, and it's like, dress like you want the job and blah blah blah. Walked in, and it was just like my knees buckled. I was literally there like maybe 15, 20 minutes, but it was weird in that I didn't get to run into anybody new really.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't get to run into any old friends, but it was also the busiest Exxxotica that I ever, because nobody canceled. I actually, for a rare thing, I actually had to cancel.
See, now, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, because you had no cancellations during the Exxxotica. So that let me know you had a pretty good Exxxotica.
Yeah.
Because some people had their shit canceled.
Here's the thing. I've been in the industry steadily for like 4 years. 2 years of actually like being on like notice and being noticed and kind of having, breakout, working with name talent. I can cancel. I still can. I think not anymore, but wow. Yeah, we definitely haven't recorded in a while. I could count on one hand how many times I've canceled a shoot, and I had to cancel 3 in Miami because besides the blush shoot, which was the big highlight of my weekend, I filmed a bunch of stuff with them, and they were absolutely amazing to work for.
Oh, he just raved about you, buddy.
That's good. That's good. I was a little nervous because we did like 6 shoots together in 3 days, and I'm an easy guy to work with, but I'm a very unique personality. So a lot of me, even when I'm trying to be low key, is a lot. So I was hoping I wasn't getting on his nerves. But no, they were. I have nothing working for Blush. I don't think. I mean, it really couldn't have been easier. Like the only way it could have been easier is I just walked in and went, "Yeah, take that dick," and then took my check and left. Like that's probably the only way it could have been. And even then, they would have had somebody voice over, so it would have sounded better. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of really amazing people like Princess Dandy and Sarah Starr and Melissa Johnson. I've worked with some new people, Missy Deep and Missy Brown, and Aria James, who I shot my first trans girl scene with, and she's kind of a new girl, kind of a up and comer. And I know I'm forgetting some people, but I actually besides the blush shoots, which were paid shoots, and out of 11 scenes that I shot in 3 days, like 5 were paid, which is pretty big for a male talent, especially one that's not like a name like made guy. That's a pretty good thing. I shot a threesome scene finally with of all people, Rita Daniels, who to date is like the biggest star I've worked with, and I owe all that to Melissa Johnson, because I worked with Melissa before. Melissa's a big star, and she's a world traveler, and she's worked for Score and Connor Cox and a bunch of other big sites. And we were supposed to shoot a scene with Blush Shooting, and Rita was going to be with her because they're very good friends. And I think Rita was looking to kind of have a girls' weekend, not really do a whole lot. And I said, well, if Rita's going to be around, if she wants, she could be in the scene, like just kind of maybe do a part, and she could kind of do some acting, and she doesn't have to do anything. And she can kind of, I had no problem with her co-owning the content because Rita Daniels just sitting in a chair. It's got to sell a couple of more.
I mean, she's a fucking legend. Let's just keep it 100 and
Yeah,
still
no, she is a
thumping in her.
legend. And the thing is,
Yes.
I don't know what Melissa said to her, but she agreed to do the scene, not having met me. And I can honestly say she is a lady and a half. She is like kind of old Hollywood, beautiful. And I met her really one morning. I got up and then my hair was all crazy. So I'm like, I went down to get coffee. I was like, let me at least brush my hair because, I'm in the host hotel, which, I'll rant on that. Another, like the DoubleTree was a shit show. And sure enough, I go downstairs and get my coffee, and in she walks to have breakfast, and she is literally head to toe, like just Chanel, like everything, like literally she's glowing, like put together, like she got up at 5 a.m. to start a regimen, like looks flawless. And I was like, yeah, I am very glad I brushed my hair. I almost felt like walking up to her. I'm like, hi, I'm the troll you're going to be fucking later. It's just like, I just woke up. I got the it takes a while for me to kind of get moving in the morning. But yeah, it was probably the best. I'm getting back to work on getting my channels up. Like I said, as we chronicled on here, post-production is not my strong point. So it's gonna take a minute, but it'll be more will get accomplished this week. But that's one of the things I'm gonna draw probably next week because we had Blush shooting it, so it looks amazing. And Rita kind of directed the scene without really, having to direct the scene. And I can't say enough good things about her. She was so easy to work with, so giving of her time, so absolutely sweet, humble. And, Melissa, I think after doing this for me, because she didn't have to, and just the past couple times I worked with Melissa and the conversations, I think I might have to make Melissa Johnson my number one. Like if I could work with any talent, if I ever work for a studio and they say I could pick whoever I want, I think Melissa's going to have to be number one. And she's just amazing. And I can't say I absolutely adore Melissa Johnson. And I was happy to hook her up with the Blush people because I knew they would love her. They volunteered to shoot the scene for us originally. It was just supposed to be her and I wanted them to meet her because I was like, no one dislikes Melissa. And sure enough, I think they're going to work together in the future, and that made me happy to, and I had to cancel 3 scenes because I wound up having breakfast with the 2 of them before the shoot. And and Rita's asking me questions because, she doesn't know me. And I mentioned that I had a bunch of shoots and I was kind of hesitant to do those shoots because now the scene's kind of gained. Now it went from like just a single shoot to whatever. Now it's kind of, this like really is the biggest scene with the biggest star I've shot yet. And she had a look on her face. Like she gave that look of nothing changed on her face, but you could tell in her eyes she did not like the idea of me doing anything before our scene. So I was
because so people can understand this. She's old school, so to her, she wants you to be your freshest.
Yeah.
Because that first nut, let's make this clear. That first nut is the best pop shot because it's the strongest nut. It's the first nut of the day.
Yeah,
man. So it's kind of like when you're talking to somebody of the level of her, she gonna be like, "Wait a second, motherfucker, nah, well, I ain't gonna be third down."
Yeah, no, that's why I like. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like. I mean, I was already, because luckily for me, like a light bulb went off. Like you're always learning. I don't care how many scenes you do. You. That's why I like working and going to these expos because you learn a lot in a short period of time. So it dawned on me, like a couple things, but it was like without missing a beat. I was in mid sentence. Without missing a beat, I was like, well, I could cancel the scenes. They'll understand. and because
because you kind of had no choice in the matter because it's like, no, seriously, dude. Because like the same reason why, the other reason why I used to bring girls here, okay, is that I'm not stupid. And the other reason why I don't like gangbangs. I don't want to be it. Okay, look, okay, I'm gonna tell you this story. All right, real quick. Off kilter. The first time I met one of the girls I used to promote, Hypnotic. I was in the barber shop and this guy came in. He used to be a security guard. And he said, yo, I got this girl, right? She's sexy as fuck on her girlfriend. And they're willing to do 30 and 40. We were like, what's 30 and 40? They were like, 30 is a suck, 40 is a fuck. It's the first time I was really introduced into the actual game of escorting. You feel what I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm. Those are low prices too.
Yeah. Now, the reason why, because so people can get contact, she got this room. So what she used to do was call, low parties, where she get a bunch of dudes to come through and see she's hypersexual. Hypnotic was she'll tell you, her damn self, she's a complete slut. She was a hoe. Her and her homegirl. So, and they knew that I can't get the quality, let me get the quantity. And who the fuck else gonna know anyway? So, but we thinking that this girl ain't good looking because it's 30 and 40. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you thinking the same thing that we were thinking. All right. So he tells where she's at. Everybody gets in their car and they go. It's like 5-6 cars deep, right? We get there. Her girl couldn't come out because her girl go to Central, go to college. She was there. Hip, gorgeous as hell. It's like, wait a second. She over the door. The boys like, oh shit, period. So they were acting all kind of timid or what have you. Even then, I said, wait a second. All right, I got the 30 of this bitch. I just want some head. But I said when motherfuckers started talking about like I'm first, I'm second. This I said no, I'm third, nigga. The reason why, because I didn't want to be the fourth man or the fifth man. So it's kind of the same reason like why I brought girls to North Carolina, because if I'm working with just them, I'm getting them at their freshest. Yeah, and as I get tired, they're getting tired. So it's not like I'm catching them. I already caught them at their best. So by the time we get to that third scene, we're revved up, but it ain't, you get where I'm coming from? Yeah. So it's kind of like she's looking at it. Plus, on top of that, you're fucking different women on top of that. So this female may go a different way than this female. This female may fuck differently from the second female, pretty just like
I've had it happen to me. There's a producer, I don't know if they're mad at me or what, but they booked me, there's this one talent and we've made it very clear that we want to work together. But maybe she doesn't because maybe she didn't speak up hard enough, but I'm kind of leaving spots in my day open because, this producer is important to me. And then, but in that time, people are approaching me and whatnot. And this happened at 2 Exxxoticas. And basically find out that she was, apparently, I thought I was like the one that she was working with, but I guess either they booked other guys or they just decide to slide guys in front of me. And then now she's tired. And it's like, I get that I, don't have a lot of clout and my following is not as big as some of the other guys and, so on and so forth. I mean, I'm at the beginning of my ascent, but much like wrestling, I know how to work. So if you're going to have her work with like 2 or 3 guys, not being serious, if you're going to have her work with 2 or 3 guys, nothing against the other guys, but I have a completely different style. And if you tell me like this chick is not a machine and she's kind of out of practice, I can create a scenario that makes it perfectly reasonable why I'm not just railing the shit out of her. And I can give you, if we map it out right, I could give you a scene in one take where it's a good scene and I'm not overtaxing her. Then you could bring in the Mandingos and the fucking whatever, the heavy hitters, and have them just decimate her, but it's like, and again, I understand business. If a guy has a bigger following and he has more clout and he has a bigger name and he's sexier to sell on social media when you're doing a scene with, I get it. But then tell me, hey, I'm not going to need you at the beginning of the day so I can like maybe figure something out. Don't like hope for the best. And then now my day is wasted because that kind of makes me feel like shit. Because now I'm like, well, You didn't give
Yeah,
me all.
because I'm not even gonna front like male talent get treated the worst. Get treated like shit because they feel like
Well,
for the most part we're disposable.
I like I said, I love this
You get clout.
producer. I love this producer. I'll take a bullet for her. But the thing is, next time she books me for something, I am gonna have to say like, okay, I'm gonna need actual details, and am I actually going to get to work with the person? Because this is, and luckily it's happened in like, I was already there doing stuff. So it wasn't like she lured me to another state and then under false pretenses and then just like screwed me over. Like she didn't do that and she wouldn't do that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, like explain to me how much I'm going to get to do or whatever. Because again, I'm getting smarter about how I do things and everything. And again, I understand other guys have whatever, but if I don't want to go spend like 2 days to go somewhere for one scene and it's a trade for paid, sure, but not trade. So yeah, I know what you mean. And like again, it's like if you're gonna use a bunch of dudes, like again, I see some of these guys and they have one speed. It's like I can work. Let me just
Yeah.
and she'll be just as fresh in the first one. I mean, so.
But see, all it's too once a guy builds his cachet to where because like I said, the women cachet versus men cachet is different in the business.
I know, yeah, that's what I say all the time.
Because for us, it's how many females talking about us, as well as the level that we didn't hit. Like for example, if you won awards, because like we got the Urban X Awards coming up at some point, and later on this year the AVNs or what have you. It's certain things for guys that make them get ahead of the line of other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and there's a lot of things that kind of came to my attention in Miami that women do, and it's not like I'm not trying to shit talk the female talent, but there's certain things that it's like, okay, you're not helping the various situation, but I'm hoping. I mean, it would be nice. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be nice to win an award one day, but I would like to have my stuff up and running, and maybe when the blush scene comes out, it'll open some more doors for other companies. I would like to be nominated. Probably not going to be nominated for any AVNs in 2023, but it'd be nice to be nominated for like an XBiz or whatever. Just nominated so I can put that on my resume. But there's a lot of things that I see. And again, it's like, yes, I'm aware that I don't have the cachet, but at the same time, the way I do things. It's like I do everything by a ranking. Like right now, I just kind of Melissa's like my number one. So and Danica Denali would be my number two. Whatever they get up, they get uber special treatment from me. So like whatever they need, they really just need to ask. And other people, I would either it ranges from I'm offended you asked, or like I'm not even going to have the conversation unless you're going to pay me. So if you're gonna kind of mistreat me or just do things with the clout, whatever, then if I do blow up, sake of argument, I blow up huge between now and next XBiz thing. I'm not gonna be shitty, and I'm not saying I'm not gonna work with you, but there's definitely gonna be a different dynamic.
I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna keep 100 with you. You're on your way because, like I said, just see people understand. I've been in this business 15 over 20 years. One thing that ain't changed that tells me is you popping is how much you're being booked. And whether it's content or whether it's paid. Like I said, I look at Finney, I look at you, I look at, let's say, David Lee, Armix.
I actually met David Lee, and I kind of feel like I actually met David Lee in passing, and I kind of I looked at him. We talked for a second, and but we didn't really introduce ourselves. And I looked at him like, you look like your talent, but I didn't. We were kind of. I was tired, and I was kind of trying to slowly make my exit. And I didn't really, I kind of didn't really introduce myself. And then I saw a picture of him like when I got back to. I was like, yep, I was right. And he's already done a few things I wish I've already done.
He's killing it. He's killing it. But what I'm saying is, but just y'all two as an example, you just said it. You turned away bookings.
Well, okay, so
hold on before you speak. And everything you did went through. So it's kind of like, and trust me, from a guy who went to Exxxotica that had 7 set up and only got 2. That shows me right there that just you know what I'm saying, and I'm not just saying it because we on this show and you my homie. No, dude, that shows that you heading in that direction, because that means, and like I said, some of this was paid, because here's the difference. It is harder for a man to get paid gig at Exxxotica than it is a fucking woman. Let's keep it real on the show.
Yeah.
Let's keep it 100. That's why I tell people now, sing your praises, mother. And you know how hard it is for a dude to get a paid gig. 1, not 2, not 3, 1. Let alone content shoots, every shoot that he is booked to actually go through, not fall through for whatever reason.
Yeah,
is rare. It's like 1%.
Yeah, I mean, Blush really took great care of me, and I don't care. And like Blush is one of those companies now, like Ivy Blue. They were there at the ground floor, so like I don't care if I, again, sake of argument, I blow up huge. Like my next goal. There's a couple of webs. I'm meeting with a big producer this month, and we're gonna have we're gonna maybe meet for a drink or something. I'm hoping to get on his platform, but like my dream is still, I want to work for Team Skeet and I want to work for Score. But if my rate goes up to, we'll say 800, whatever, if Blush needs me, I'm there because they were there in the beginning, and I'm going to get so much off of being on their platform. So it's like that. That's how I work. It's like, I don't give a rat's ass. If my rate goes up to being, if I become a Brazzers contract guy, I'm going to be like, look, I'm happy to be signed to you guys, but I need one proviso in that if Blush needs me for a shoot, I'll take a little less money on the contract if you allow me, that if they need me for something, I can go and do it. Guys like when Steve Williams would say, I'll wrestle for you, but I have Japan dates. But yeah, so to go back to, I was talking to Rita, and I was lucky because Sarah Starr, who was also shooting with later that weekend, and Sarah and then Raven Bell are both amazing talents that I've worked with before, and they are my friends, and they are great. And I was like, I'll just explain it to them, and they'll be happy for me, and they'll understand. And they did, and that's why they're amazing. And if you're a producer, Raven Bell and Sarah Starr, if you're not booking them, I don't know what's wrong with you. And there was another one. I'm sorry, Natalia Crimson or Nikita or Crimson.
Yeah, Natalia Crimson.
I explained it to her.
I actually pushed her in your direction.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, and she was keen to work with me, but again, it was just kind of, it was funny situation because she put in work
that weekend. I had to give it to her.
She did, but she tweeted something because I told her, I said, look, this is thing, and it's a big deal, and I didn't lie. I was like, look, because again, the light that went off was, this is a big star, she's earned, it's the same thing if like a Sarah J, or hell, if Sarah J said, I want to shoot with you, but I don't want you shooting the rest of the weekend I'd be like, look, I can't cancel the Blush shoots, but I'll shoot, but depending on if you're actually going to give me all your efforts, okay, I'll cancel the rest of my shoots if Sarah J were going to work with me because it's fucking Sarah J. You got to think career-wise. And, I always tell the female talent that I work with, like, if it's a legitimate thing, if a major guy wants to work with you, if like the hottest male talent in the industry wants to work with you, or if a company is offering you money, call me, explain it to me, and I'm going to tell you to cancel. And I'll be mad if you don't. Because it's like this.
But see, now some people don't. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Some people don't understand that.
Well, yeah.
Some people truthfully don't understand that factor.
Yeah, and this is a big thing for me. It's like I got a first class company and cinematographer is a first class camera person and amazing. It's like he's not even there. He's so easy to work with, but everything looks amazing. I got the biggest star I've ever worked with, a legend, Rita Daniels, who, I mean, just like I said, the woman glows, and she's so sweet. And then I have Melissa Johnson, who is like, honestly, like, I mean, the best person to work with, and just probably one of the best people I've ever met in my life. So like, why, so I had to make, and she apparently sent out a tweet, but I took it as just a tweet. One of the people on set later that day or whatever, it said like, oh, she called you out. I'm like, I didn't take it like that. But if she did, she did. It's like, I'm pretty sure if she was offered like a big gig or a big show that she wouldn't have, canceled on me. But I mean, I didn't take it as her being, I've talked to her since, and I'm still planning on shooting with her. It's just, I had to work smarter, not harder.
It like, put it this way: if you had talked to her since and she's still down to shoot with you,
it
might not been meant for you. You feel what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Because the way women is, from my experience, now if it was a truth about you, it's a conversation. Y'all wouldn't even had a conversation.
Yeah.
So
so the scene went amazing. And again, just posting a couple of pics, like the following went up, and I can't wait to drop it. And they've been great because and again, let's be honest, they're Score girls. And I'm going to be shameless here. Hey, Score, I would love to work with you. And I've literally worked with like half a dozen or probably more of like women you already booked. So, hi.
But I mean, but see, because you have, I tell people you got to put yourself in the room. Now you put yourself in the room, the producer might ask them, okay, who was him?
Yeah.
Okay, it seemed like you had good chemistry with him. He looked like he's pretty fun.
And here's the other thing that I have a beard, and Rita's looking at my beard. It's like, is that your trademark? I'm like, no, my trademark is kind of just me as like a whole package. And essentially, she made a suggestion, and I didn't. My only issue with the scene is I don't like the way my face looks in the scene, but it's a small.
She told you cut your beard off.
Well, she wanted not just me to cut my beard off, but she wanted me to do like a Gomez Adams kind of mustache. And I'm looking at this woman who, again, does like, I don't even want to think about what her rate is, and she works for companies. And how often does she do? And how often does she do? How often does she do trades? Yeah. So how often does she do trades? How often, so we finished breakfast. They went to the pool to lay out and be gorgeous in bikini. So I immediately went upstairs, and guys, this is kind of the thing. I caught her eyes, and I said, I will cancel the shoots. And I did that almost immediately. I told them to call me so I can actually, tell them. And then I went upstairs and I shaved. And again, also part of the reason why I have a beard is one, I think I look better with it, but also my face, is pretty sensitive. So it's like a pain in the ass to shave. I was worried about, but again, so I went and I did the mustache. I did the thing, and I went back downstairs to the pool, and the reaction when I came up and walked up to her, she literally, it was like night and day. I mean, she was so, it was totally the smart move to make, and it's a beard, and you want to make the female talent happy, and I did, and she literally like was over the moon with it, so it was a smart move to make, and so that was like the second biggest, kind of almost like Division A and Division A1. It was like working for Blush and how well they treated me, as well as like getting Rita Daniels. And again, I can't say, and I don't think Rita Daniels is a wrestling fan, so she'll probably never hear this, but if you're a fan, go buy her stuff, go to Score and look her up. Rita, the woman is 72 and she looks like she's 60 or a hard living Florida 55. It's, or if you really want to get technical about it, or she's a really hot 43-year-old meth addict. It's like, but no, seriously, she is amazing. I can't say enough amazing things. And she got into the scene. Like we kind of, there's a couple, I don't want to be too graphic, but there was a couple of moments in the scene, I could tell she was getting into it and she was enjoying the actual, the fucking. And I teased her for the rest of the weekend because I set up this whole scenario, and I, came in with the whole thing, and it was all ready to go, and everybody was on board. And she was like, oh, let's see if he measures up. And of course, like Melissa takes my pants off, and she goes, "Oh, Billy does measure up." And I teased her the rest of the weekend, saying, "I'm going to get a video expert to isolate that phrase, and I'm going to have that as my ringtone. So if Bobby Lucas ever calls me, it's going to go, 'Oh, Billy does measure up. Oh, Billy does measure up. Oh, Billy does measure up.'" It's just Rita Daniels like saying that over and over again. And I'm not kidding. I'm going to figure out how to make that happen. Oh, that's what I was forgetting. I also got to work with another score girl. She actually approached me, or actually I approached her, but she put out an open call. Emma Shea, blonde, buxom, like just natural all the way around, gorgeous, sweet young lady. And my only regret is I didn't get to spend much time with her. Like we literally met and then we ran upstairs to film like a 15-minute POV. And we, again, did it pretty much in one take. And she couldn't have been sweeter and easier to work with. But it all happened so fast.
Did a quick POV. Okay, I like that.
And I held the camera, and it was good. But the thing was, it was kind of, I was there, but I wasn't. So it's like I kind of want to work with her again, so I could actually, because it all happened so fast. Because we were literally on the expo floor, and we just ran upstairs, and I think in less half hour, and that's counting getting there, doing the paperwork, coming downstairs. Because we did it in 2 7-minute takes, and I was 9 seconds off, like hitting the money shot. So it's like I don't think next to any editing needed to be done, and she was great. But I didn't. At the same time, it was almost too quick. But she was down to work with me again. The third biggest thing of that weekend was I got to meet and kind of befriend Connor Cox. Who I'm a fan of his work, and he owns Cox Modeling, and I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind being represented by them. That would definitely open a lot of doors. But we bonded over football because he's a Georgia boy too, and he's a big Georgia Bulldog fan. And we talked several times over the weekend because I kept running into him, and just kind of kept it short, sweet, and we talked football, and and when I got back to Atlanta, he, I already followed him, but so he followed me back on Twitter and Instagram, which to me is a big deal because he's a very smart, very capable and accomplished performer, and also a Georgia Bulldog fan. So that right there tells you he's extremely intelligent and has amazing taste. And he's like a real Georgia Bulldog fan, because for anybody who doesn't know, there's a thing that Georgia Bulldog fans do that is, you walk, if you see somebody with a Georgia Bulldog anything on, you kind of just yell, "Go Dogs!" And and here's the thing, like a Pavlovian response, they will just yell back, "Go Dogs!" Like I've been on the streets of New York City, like just, walking with a purpose, hustling. And I'll be, it'd be in the fall, I'll have my Georgia gear on, and I'll hear somebody just randomly scream, "Go Dogs!" And I'll just spin around, "Go Dogs!" And he kept doing that every time I walked away from him. And without thinking about it, I did it back. And he has a lovely girlfriend whose name I'm blanking on. And I'm very sorry to her because she's actually she's a name on the rise as well. It starts with a K, but she was very sweet and a lovely lady. But a really cool guy. And I told him, I joked around with him, I'm like, dude, stay in touch. At the very minimum, I joked with him, like, of course I would love to be part of your agency, but like, just keep in touch because I have nobody to talk football with in the industry, which is true, so please, just if anything, let's stay in touch as far, and he had Rita and Melissa at his booth at one point. So hopefully that kind of got bled into his ear. And I pointed Emma Shea in his direction. I said, Emma, I worked with her and she was amazing, and kind of talked her up. Princess Dandy I worked with, who is somebody that's just, again, like I would say, one of my favorites. She's an amazing BBW and fetish model that's it's gonna be a big. She's really gonna take the world by storm in 2023. And other than that, those are like the three biggest things. And just, did 11 shoots in 3 days with like 10 pop shots and shot my first trance scene. And, it was exhausting. Because by the last scene, I was kind of hurting. And, because I also shot a lot of virtual reality, which is a skill unto itself, which I'm glad I'm developing, because I can also add that to my resume that I have experience shooting virtual reality and I could do it. I think now it's not set in stone, so I'm not obligating anybody, but Blush mentioned there's a woman out of New Jersey, or so that's going to be a New Jersey Exxxotica that they want to book me with. And I said to them, because here's the thing, I wasn't planning on going to New Jersey Exxxotica because I hate Edison. And last year at Exxxotica, I pretty much had a horrible experience. I lost my shirt and I didn't really get anything. So I wasn't going to go this year. I was going to go to DC. But I told Blush, look, no pressure. If you want to book me, the rule is if somebody like Sarah J or Anastasia Rose wants to shoot with me, I'll go. If I get offered a pay gig, I'll go. Otherwise, I'm going to pass. And they said they wanted to book me with this woman. I don't want to drop her name because it's not set in stone. But I said, look, if you want to book me, I will come, and I'm going to do it a little bit more low key. So if I do go to Jersey Exxxotica, I think I'm going to just, if I sake of argument, work with Blush, I'm just going to focus on them, do 1 or 2 trade shoots. I think my days of doing the marathon gauntlet at Exxxotica, trying to film with everybody, maybe now it's like I've gotten enough street cred and now it's time to work smarter and not harder. I mean, at 45 years old, knocking out 11 scenes in 3 days, I'm still very happy I could do that. But if I do go, and also you mentioned you want to do some stuff. So I was like, all right, well, if your stuff pans out and Blush wants to book me, I'll go, and I'll just, I think Raven Bell's going to go, and, just shoot with some people that I've been wanting to shoot with, or I always shoot too. But I think a lot's going to come out of Miami Exxxotica. I'm just waiting for Blush to release my scene, and I'm going to drop this threesome scene. And again, hopefully become at least football buddies with Connor. Again, if anything, at least I have now somebody to talk to about football that knows something about football. Because when you're around a bunch of porn stars, you start talking football, everybody just kind of looks at you like you have lobsters crawling out of your ears. But yeah, that was the extent of it. I mean, the DoubleTree, that's the last time I'm going to stay there. I never spent more money for such a shit experience. I let them 2 1-star reviews. And a woman, I'm not sure. She works for Exxxotica. We'll just call her A. But she works for Exxxotica, and she actually hooked me up with a VIP pass. So this time around, I didn't actually have to, fork out the cash for that. And I really appreciate it.
I think I might know who you're talking about. Because I'm talking to somebody that has I can't remember her name, but when you say A, kind of like
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you all things because that's the one thing. Like when I said I'm going to talk about, I'm doing a couple of interviews and I'm going back to doing my shows. I talked to the cinematographer's lovely wife, who I adore, and I said, okay, everybody's a little different. What wants to be called cinematographer. So I'm not sure if she, even though she works for Exxxotica, the actual event, if she wants her name out there. So I just call her Miss A. And I was asking her advice on something, and she actually just said, hey, I'll put you on for the VIP thing. So that was especially when I was getting ripped off from my hotel room, that definitely helped. So thank you. But yeah, no, that's kind of, I know I'm forgetting probably some stuff, but it was a big learning experience because I saw some stuff that kind of been weighing on my mind, and like, okay, need to start working smarter, not harder, but still hard, and just seeing certain people behave certain ways. And it's like, technically there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just choosing, I don't want to do that if I can avoid it. I mean, if I can avoid it, I'm going to. I'd rather just not do stuff like that, And it also reminded me that you are the environment that you create. So if you're working with talent that are kind of shitty or not giving you a good performance, or they smell, or they're just not fun to work with, or whatever, then you're going on social media and making them look like they walk on water just because they have some clout. Well, and then going in the other room and bitching about them, it's like, well, you need to kind of shut the fuck up, because while I understand it's business, if you're going to work with somebody and literally make them and add to the pile of like, oh, this person's at the top, this person's the shit, then you're kind of just, again, you're kind of, and then you're going to sit there and go, I don't understand why they're so popular. I'm like, you want to know why? Because you're fucking like making them popular. Like, you're out there doing the same shit everybody else is doing. You told me this other person was like amazing to work with. I haven't seen you tweet one thing about them. I haven't seen you post one picture about them. So one thing I definitely learned is, if we work together and I didn't like you or the experience, I'm still going to promote the scene. Hey, here's a picture of me grabbing your ass. The scene just dropped. Go buy the fucking thing if you want. Whereas somebody like Melissa or Princess Dandy, I'm going to go kind of a little that extra mile. And if I'm in the room with a producer, or if I, can really, push you a lot harder, that's what I'm going to do, because I would rather you be around in 2 years to keep adding to the industry. It's like, I get you got to work with bigger people and kind of promote it. But if they're really shitty, or they're not like as good a performer, or they're kind of fake, then you just post a pic. You go, hey, I worked with so-and-so, and build up the talent that you really are impressed with and you enjoy working with, and help them get ahead. When you ignore the good talent you work with, and then you're going to sit there, go in a room and like, look, you do what you do. I'm going to start telling people like, yeah, I don't want to hear it. Like, you can bitch. Don't bitch about this person to me, because you're the reason why they're getting nominated and they're getting all this extra attention and money, because you're fucking continuing the trend. Like, you're not going to do, fucking be a little smarter about how you do shit. It's not all about the clout. So I'm definitely going to be supporting people a lot more that support me, and being out there more for them. But it's just that thing. Like, I get it. They have a couple 100,000 followers. They've been nominated for a bunch of shit. They whatever work for this company. Good. But don't forget, if you want to work with better people, you got to promote the better people. So yeah. So that was my Exxxotica experience.
So with that being said, now, since y'all got caught up on what's been going on, now it's time for the Pro Wrestling Smoke side of the show. And speaking about Pro Wrestling Smoke, that's also our premium podcast, which is on the Premium Smoke Room. $4.99 a month. You get the opportunity to listen to 6 premium podcasts, one of them being the Pro Wrestling Smoke podcast, where me and Billy, we deep dive into a subject of professional wrestling or news or what have you, or anything we might come up with for a good strong hour, period. And you can only listen to it on Spotify or on Anchor in the Premium Smoke Room. Now, with that being said, how we always start the Pro Wrestling Smoke side of the show. We start with the wonderful velvet, graspy, legendary voice of Gordon Solie. So welcome to the Gordon Solie Poetry Corner.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Gordon Solie's Poetry Corner. And thank you for joining me in this turbulent time in wrestling in my little corner of the world. A lot going on in wrestling today, especially in the WWE, if you want to call that wrestling. But I found this little poem that seemed apt for what's going on. I did not write it with Triple H in mind. I actually wrote it on a bender in Singapore after losing a leg wrestling match for Rue McClanahan. God, she was a hell of a competitor. I still say she cheated, but goddamn, she had gams like a titan. Anyway, it's called The Game. To cope with total egomania, coupled with complete ruthlessness, becomes myopic in one's approach to the day by day of business acumen. One slowly realizes chess is played at all levels. Death is the only victor. And with that, just remember, I'm drunk. Life it ain't over until it's over. And if you're ever gonna meet Rue McClanahan in heaven and challenge her to a leg wrestling match, make sure you get her blood tested first. But still, one hell of a woman. Kavanaugh.
And we're back. We're back, and we're here to talk about what y'all actually came to this podcast to listen to.
That's views. A little. I'm definitely out of practice, but also that's kind of scary because I literally just happened upon that one, and I think the ghost of Gordon Solie is with us today on the show because that poem is weirdly relevant to everything going on. I might actually have to tweet that out to Triple H himself.
Oh my God, that's beautiful, yo. That's beautiful. So before we even go into discussing the WWE reset, because like I said, good night. A lot has happened with WWE since we last talked. The tidbit news outside of, because I'm not gonna go deep into AEW shit. Was the fact that Jonthan Greshem basically demanded his release and cussed out Tony Khan. And I sat there and had deep thought about this situation here. And I heard so many different views upon it. So this is just my view, and then I'm gonna get your view. Okay. I am sorry. I would have put Claudio Castagnoli over top of that motherfucker also for the title.
I think everybody would. I mean, it really was just.
I'm sorry.
I mean, for so many different reasons, I would have. And again, here's the thing: I could see where his frustration is going because from what I've read, Tony Khan really needs to develop a chain of command because I always tell people if I never intentionally do anything to annoy or be shitty or intentionally intend to do a bad job. If I'm not doing something right or if I'm bothering somebody, I always tell people when I meet them, like, look, just come up and say something and then we can cut it. We could get to it right away and fix it. If you let things sit and fester, then they become a problem. And I think Tony Khan really has a weird, like he's afraid to deal with talent when it's not kissing his ass or giving him a hug. And I think they let people stew and then shit gets out of hand. And then, and I think Gresham had a legitimate complaint because it hasn't been used that well on TV. And then you go
But let's play devil's advocate for a second. All right. Now I'm going to keep it 100. Because I do like Jonthan Greshem. But let's look at the past year of Ring of Honor before they got bought. One, I didn't understand why they put the belt on Bandito. I would have never done that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it either.
Then, no disrespect to Jonthan Greshem, I see him as the pure champion. Okay, I see that. But him being the Ring of Honor champion to me is the equivalent of Bob Backlund being the WWF champion. You get what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
It's like in hindsight, as a kid, okay, Bob Backlund, I loved him. But as an adult, God, he was kind of a boring ass champion when you think about it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with Gresham, he don't have the greatest of promos. Do I like his ring gear, his ring entrance? Yes, but he doesn't have a promo. He wasn't even with Brian Cage, as much as people talk about Brian Cage, was he really over? Because the most over I ever seen Brian Cage, honestly, was when he was on Lucha Underground.
Yeah. Well,
Not even with Impact. Because even when he was Impact, he wasn't but so over. So it's kind of like the people that got the gripe were the ones that not guys that put butts in seats. Meaning that if Jonthan Greshem was that strong of a champion, I understand it was pandemic type shit, but I didn't never see Greshem as a top guy. And that's just being honest. I'm just being honest.
I think part of
size or none of that.
I think part of his grievance was, well, one, you got to think about, like, he's all over the world. He's winning belts. He's winning tournaments. He's whatever. And he was doing very well. And then kind of this slow, basically the shut and stop. I think Gresham, apparently he was also against turning heel. And it is true. It's like, look, I think him as a heel with a manager talking and him being kind of like, and also, but like an Arn Anderson, not an Arn Anderson.
He didn't want to be a heel. That's the other part of that.
But I think,
now, trust you, because I can even tell when he did the heel shit in Progress. Now, so people can understand why he became the progressive champion. Progress took an old school thought process. They did what the NWA did when it came to getting the belt off of Dory and getting it to Jack Briscoe.
I mean,
okay, now hear me out. This is what I'm saying. Aggressive became a transitional champ in Progress because they wanted to get the belt off of Cardinal War without Cardinal War being defeated by the guy who is now champ, which was what's his fucking name? Chris Ridgway. You get where I'm coming from?
Uh-huh.
So they used him and then here's the crazy part. How he lost the belt was that in a match, if a certain tag team interfered, he would lose the match, and they interfered and it cost him the belt. You get what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So, like, and of course he won, I think, the 16 karat gold, but Germany, they value grapplers. They value the type wrestler that he is. You get what I'm coming from? When we're talking about American pro wrestling, there's no way in here that anybody would have saw Jonthan Greshem as the world champ.
Well,
what we consider a world champ to be in this style of in this era of professional wrestling.
Well, what I would have, again, this kind of goes back to Tony not being like, look, you put Bryan Danielson, I guess you made him the head of your talent relations. So you need, when people have gripes, you need, depending on the level of the talent and the level of the gripe, you need to address it, and you need to address it quickly so it doesn't turn into this, because this is kind of becoming a recurring theme. But I would have basically sat him down and go, look, Cesaro, I mean, look at the guy. The fact that he hasn't been world champion yet. When Vince McMahon said, I look at Cesaro and I don't get it, that's exactly the moment I knew, well, Vince has lost the narrative. Like, I think actually lost, because there's no way that you can not look at this guy and not see world champion. Now, and again,
wait a second. This the same Vince that put the belt on Sheamus.
I would have told.
Where they're coming from?
I would have told. No, I wouldn't have put the belt on Sheamus. I probably wouldn't even hire the Sheamus. Like those are two different types of talents. I don't think. If I did sign Sheamus, he definitely would never get anywhere near my world title. But I would have sacked Gresham and been like, I would have sacked Gresham.
I ain't gonna front on that though. I kind of liked him as champ. He was a good champ.
I don't know. I'm a Mick, and I don't know. He never really did it for me.
I think he was better suited as a heel champion than when because the title run I think his best title run was when I guess he was the face. When he was a face.
I don't know. I don't even remember. Like again, his main, like him coming into the WWE and everything. I wasn't watching wrestling really at that time. But with Gresham, I would have sat him down and been like, "Look, here's the deal. I know you're annoyed, but like, if you really look at it from a business perspective, everybody and their grandmother, except Vince, who again has lost his mind, would put the belt on Cesaro. And this is the kind of oomph we need to push forward to getting a TV deal and everything. That's why FTR is our tag champions, yada, yada, yada. You're going to be champion in other divisions. Again, you know this. And I said, this is what I need. This is what I want. I'm going to turn you into my Ole Anderson. You're going to be the heel that just out wrestles, and you're vicious and you're brutal and you're going to attack a body part. And I'm going to get you a manager, and that manager is going to handle your promo. And you're just going to be this shooter, just ass kicking, like, mean mugging motherfucker. You're going to work a guy's knee. You're going to cripple him. And I'm going to make you one of my top heels. And basically, eventually, you'll probably be pure champion again, or I'm going to make the TV division your division, and you're going to rule over that, and like a reign of terror.
I put All Atlantic belt up on you, since you love to go overseas. You get where I'm coming from.
But I think it's part of it's ego, and I think part of it is too that Tony is just trying to do too much.
Oh, it is ego, because he literally said he's stepping away from the game. He even shut down Terminus. You get where I'm coming from? It's kind of like,
I mean.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, I just think that's a bad move, because you're gonna just hurt yourself, and it's. I think like, look at Bob Backlund. When he came back, he did the insane Bob Backlund thing. Yeah, the WWE could have capped better, but Bob was like, he never wanted to be a heel, but when you saw him, when he finally gave in and got into it. It's like, holy shit, we could have gotten this when he was fighting a young Hogan in the 80s. Are you fucking kidding me? He could have been there he could have been neck and neck with Piper as one of Hogan's biggest rivalries. And again, I would have been like, dude, I have plans for you. But that's the thing, though. I think Tony avoids people unless you're unless you're the fucking mascot, or unless you're Punk or whatever. He ignores or doesn't want to have the confrontation, because again, he's taking on a lot, and you're dealing with creative people. But see,
that's the reasoning why. Like, for example, you had Jerry had Jerry. Just like you said, is that intermediate? It's that he needs a straight up guy that handles the booking. You feel me? If he need to play the Stephanie role, what Stephanie playing right now, and you got somebody out there that you could hire that can handle that, and his name is Road Dogg. And you've seen what Road Dogg did with SmackDown. I'm sorry, even though Road Dogg has harsh thought process or criticism upon AEW, fuck that shit. Let me bring this dude in, because I want that pushback as a creative. You feel what I'm coming from? Because that means that, one, he's going to make the product make even more sense, and he's going to give me the booking that I'm about to compete against. Because, not jumping in, putting the cart before the horse in this show, it's about to get interesting in the next couple of months because of who has now taken over WWE. So, to me, he needs another person other than him. Of course, something that you done said before on more than one occasion. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It's just, I think he just, again, I think Tony misrepresented the whole. I think Tony mishandled its ego, its pride, and it's also, Ring of Honor is going to change for better or worse. It's a new ownership, and it's going to have to change. It shouldn't change. It shouldn't become AEW Light, but some changes are going to have to be made. So people that were like a bigger star or like at the top of the card of the old Ring of Honor may have to take a back seat and go lower and build them with. And it sucks. And in life, shit ain't fair. But look, like I said earlier, I had a producer that I owe a lot to and that I love, and everything is kind of lately just been weird, but also like kind of jerked me around on some booking. And when I see them, I'm going to be like, look, I get, but you got to give me a more solid, I'm just going to deal with the issue before it turns into a thing, because that's something that's going to, if that continues, that's eventually going to really crawl up my ass sideways with cleats on. Because while I can accept, you're canceling my shoot because Thor Johnson's in town, or you'll do these things on camera with this guy because he's got this cachet. I can understand that, but like to be flat out disrespected or ignored, it's like, oh no, I worked way too hard to get here. Like, I'm not gonna badmouth you on social media, but we're done. You'll be lucky if I walk. Actually, that happened a couple times at Exxxotica. Like, a few people I think saw me, but I was leaving them alone because either you chose to stop talking to me, or when I met you, you were dismissive. And I kind of felt like I got a vibe of an attitude that I wasn't coming over to say hello. And I was like, well, motherfucker, you dismissed me, or you didn't want to be my friend. Like, I'm 45 years old. Like, the days of doing shit that I don't benefit me or I'm absolutely required to do are done. Fuck, I don't care how much French philosophy you have read. The social contract no longer applies. If you don't want to be my friend, good. I will leave you be, which means I don't feel any obligation to come up and say hello or engage in chit chats. Like, yeah, I saw you, and I walked right by you like I didn't see you. What? So I think Tony mishandled it. He needs to learn how to deal with creative people, because creative people do have egos and they can be emotional. And I think I think John needs to take a breath and realize what he's doing. And, honestly, I think that being a heel is the way to go, because his in-ring gear, the way that, it's like you could be the modern day Ole Anderson. And that is not a bad thing to be, because Ole was a big motherfucking player for 20 years, and essentially, retired, on a pile of money and had the ability, and he told everybody to go fuck themselves several times. I think John is making a big mistake, but this is a wake-up call for Tony. Dude, you're running a bunch of companies. You've given too much power to certain guys that clearly have shown that they are ready to be behind the scenes executives. You need to get people in places where they can deal with it. Like, again, putting Christopher Daniels in talent relations, I think is a good move, because he's a fucking wrestler and he's smart. But yeah, this is becoming like a recurring theme where guys are like, I try to talk to Tony. Tony doesn't avoid me or whatever. And also his booking has gotten so absurd and just ridiculous. It's approaching WWE bad, where it's like, yeah, you need help, and you need to man up and also get help. Because like that whole Jungle Boy thing, that is so bad. Yeah, I think it's giving me cancer.
So now we got out of that, because, like I said, I ain't want to go too deep. I ain't AEW, because we got to get the people what they want. And what they want to hear is about SummerSlam and all this thing that go on with WWE. So to me, clear my throat, because this is gonna be a long conversation. This was the passing of the torch, the reset of WWE. It's funny because Wrestle Talk called it WWE SummerSlam Takeover, basically, for the most part. Which we're going to go deeper into on Pro Wrestling Smoke when we record that episode, to like what's going on with Vince with this allegation shit and all that, because I don't feel like jumping into that so much. But say something for you subscribers spending that money. But you could tell this was not a Vince show by any freaking means. And it felt like, and I could be giving an unpopular opinion, it felt like Raw on a bigger scale. You get what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Because the way that they had segments as well as matches, and I was like to start off with the women's match with Bianca Belair and Becky. One damn good fucking match. I didn't have a problem with Becky turning face with the handshake and stuff like that. But what I wasn't expecting was Bayley coming out with Io Sky, no longer Shirai, and Dakota Kai. And my first thought was, and I could be wrong, could y'all say that for Raw?
Well,
I mean,
well,
I was. Go ahead.
No, it will also. Everyone's getting all excited about this. Like the idea, because here's the thing: Vince stepped away because and all the TV deals that they, because basically the WWE is only making money really because of those TV deals. And they would basically be fucking hurting if USA and Fox just kind of went, you know what, you're too toxic, we're done. They would be fucked and fucked hard. It's like he's still probably going to be calling the shots because from what I've heard Brian Last say, and this is another reason why this is what's the problem with the American and the world financial system and why I don't really trust the stock market. There's two types of stock. One that's basically the actual stock, and then a type of stock that's basically it ain't worth shit. And Vince owns the majority of the actual stock that counts, and then the other people below him in succession are his fucking family. So if people really believe that Vince is gonna just go home and sit down, because he could probably beat all this shit, but it's gonna take time and him just staying out of the spotlight and sitting at home and being quiet. And that ain't Vince's way of doing things. So if you think he ain't gonna still be out there calling the stupid shit, I think you need to share whatever you're taking, because like this walkout, it was even done wrong. Not only was it probably maybe should have been saved for Raw, but the way they did it, it's like you fucking people don't know how to do anything. Like literally, I started yelling in my living room because I was like, you don't know how to do anything. It's like that Cat Williams thing. Like, oh, you're going to fuck up everything? Everything. Like, yes, Cat. Everything. They're going to fuck up everything. You should have had Dakota come out first. Then you should have had Shirai. Then you have the big star that's been gone for like over a year now not because of a match, but because some dumb fuckwit, and you are a fuckwit, whoever you are, said to her that one of the best wrestlers, period, in the world, vagina or not, oh, you need to go to Florida and run ropes so you're ready to go back on the road. That's like telling fucking Mozart that he has to practice scales. That's like telling Prince he has to practice being sexy before performance. It's like, the fact that whoever suggested that wasn't fired and out and blackballed from the wrestling industry, but you have her come out first, but then you keep, and it's like the law. It's like a reverse. It's like the I don't know, like just the saddest China doll ever, because it's like, oh, Dakota Kai, okay, and then Io Shirai. I'm like, a little bit better, but okay. You had the big thing come out, and you have it come out in the most unflattering, ridiculous fucking outfit I've ever seen. I mean, the only thing that outfit accomplished is now I know if what would happen if a stormtrooper fucked a fanny pack. It's like I'm assuming that was Bayley's decision, and that's when I now realize Bayley probably has no real friends in life, because if she did, if I were her friend, I would have pulled her inside and I would have went, no.
You didn't pants out
Bayley. Listen to me. No. But yeah, I was it's just, and then again, with what's her face, the champion, Bianca Belair. This woman is not meant to be a baby face, because she looked like the biggest fucking doofus. First of all, in that outfit. Apparently, her and Adam Page are gonna like start a honky tonk or something. I don't know, but she's sitting there like, oh my gosh, oh Jimmy Gillikers, oh no, and it's like, okay, could you make your champ look like any more of a jerk off? And could you? I mean, you fucked up a walkout. You fucked up a walkout. So I think this I don't know. It's nice that people have hope, but I don't know. I think he's deep in the woods, and it's going to be a while before they get out of it. And again, I think Vince is going to have his fingers and shit, besides paralegals, in stuff for a long until he's dead.
Because I mean, it was like they gave us the segment with Drew. They gave us, you might as well say, the segment with what's his damn name? With Seth Rollins, and
oh, that was terrible.
I was like, y'all could have saved that for Raw.
And also,
this is SummerSlam. This is not.
What is this? What is the weird, like? What is the weird, like Liberace having a hot flash movement that he's doing? Like, is that something that he's been doing? And why is he dressed like Mr. Again, who these people don't have friends, because why I mean, I don't like, was he coming out there to catch Jack doing something he wasn't supposed to do? Like, is he gonna challenge Riddle to her? Is there gonna be a Regal Beagle?
Because Riddle did look like a goddamn Jack.
I mean, is there gonna be a Regal Beagle death match or something? Like, I don't.
I think no. It's like certain segments they could have saved for Raw. I mean, if you're gonna have the match that you had, I get that this was gonna be a long ass pay-per-view, but and I guess they wanted to keep it going, pacing. But the segments, you made it feel like a Raw, because it's like, that's why I say it felt like it felt like a reset and a statement by Triple H to say, okay, I've taken over. That's what it felt like, because like I said, now y'all people looking for a match preview, go somewhere. I'm not about to go through all that. I'm only gonna go through the ones that I really give a damn about. But because, like I said, even with Theory, the Theory match, I had no issue with that. He lost quickly because they basically hinted he was gonna cash it in any fucking way. So.
Oh, they made him look like the biggest fucking. I mean, again, you had him lose, and then you had to make him. And then I heard that made him look like a jerk off. It's like, again, do you not understand the concept? Okay, so again, we're two porn stars. We're two porn stars. Actually, that was the other thing that came out of Miami. For the first time in my life, and especially since joining the industry, I could sit here and say I'm a porn star without feeling like an idiot. So two porn stars. So. I did a scene with Rita Daniels, and Rita Daniels being like the John Cena of the scene, and Melissa being like the Rock of the scene, made me look like $1 million fucking dollars. That's how you get a talent over. So like, when you see the scene, if you buy the scene, you think, holy shit, he's the man. It's because they fucking made me look like the man, and that's how you do it. You're trying to build this kid, and you made him look like the biggest half a jerk off ever.
Okay. I'm going to speak upon this without going into the actual match, because I want to say that for last. The actual match. Okay, the match was if I'm correct, follow me, a last man standing match, right?
The main event, it was supposed to be.
Last man standing match. He didn't cash it in at the end of the match. No, people know. He cashed it in during the match. So would that change the rule of the match for pinfall, or would that still be a last standing match?
Again, these things, these are like buzzwords. It's like it's like everybody now is a throat goddess.
Sense to have had him cash in that briefcase during a last man standing match. No, because it's kind of like, I don't know where Triple H, maybe Triple H looked over that part in his reasoning to have the dude come out.
I don't know.
Now, granted, he didn't cash it in technically, so.
No, you just made him look like a fuck. Apparently, you made him look like a fucking idiot.
He's like a complete idiot, because I'm gonna say this again. This is the last man standing match. So by all intents and purposes, that means that now Roman or there's 2 men had to be put down for a 10 count. You get what I'm coming from?
I just it's the
because
point.
if the referee rang the bell, then is it now a 3-way and we don't do the last man standing? We jumping the cart before the horse.
I just the level, like the idea, like the whole special stipulation match, it's just been ruined and beaten to death, and nobody. And it's,
hold on, and now before we get to the celebrity part, another stipulation match, right? Now the Mysterios versus the Judgment Day. But I do recall this was a no match, right?
Yeah.
That was wrestled as an actual tag match.
I mean, again, I saw. I have this god awful piece of shit playing on the monitor, fucking idiot, my TV.
And the sad part, it wasn't a bad match.
No, but like Finn Balor, really, the guy is so shredded and so lean. Certain gear only looks good on him, and the gear he's wearing, and what's with the fucking bandana? Does that mean he likes to be peed on, or does that mean he's a bottom, or does that mean he's a top? Like, I know different when they hang out of your pocket, they're supposed to mean different things. I forget what color or what purple means, but like it just okay, like, look, dude, I get it. Get your freak on. We all kind of got our thing, but I mean, you're at work right now. You can't, again, it's the thing of they just say it's buzzwords. Like now, no one could just give a good blowjob anymore. Now everybody's a throat. It's a throat. Oh, I'm a throat goddess. And I was like, look, here's the thing. I don't like and here's the funny thing. I don't like my blowjobs overly sloppy. I don't like them too slick and smooth. I like a little friction. Use your hands, like be creative. It's like, I don't care. Like, if you got no gag reflex, it used to be called deep throat, but that's delightful. But, it's like, it's basically just a lot of spit and you going up and down. It's like, now it's like, oh, throat goddess. Oh, death match. No disqualification. Last man standing. Texas death match. It's like, all right, sure, yeah, all right. You're the throat person, okay. You're the throat lady, okay. It's like, it's just people just do things so they can get to the next card, and they don't realize, like, well, it's the law of diminishing returns, and if you're not gonna pretend like something has value, then guess what? Nothing has a value. So it's
I'm just gonna I don't know. Also, I ain't gonna front. Edge's entrance coming back was badass. I did like the jacket. I'm not even going front. The jacket was fire. But
yeah, he borrowed it from Jericho.
But yeah, he did call Jericho, didn't he? But I'm just gonna say this again. Okay, I guess they was like, see, people don't realize as much as these fuckers act like they don't listen to Jericho, they said, always talked about what the territory did. That each match is like, if you know you're gonna have a table and something wild at the end, you kind of want to tame down the other shit, so that the wild at the end will actually have a greater impact. This is a no disqualification tag match. This is the opportunity for them to get fucking wild. I mean, y'all been doing it for all this time incohesively, and y'all been pumping this up to where you done put Rey Mysterio little ass through a table, beat him up during his birthday party in front of his family and friends. And y'all had a straight up tag match. They actually held the tag rope, dog, and were tagging.
I mean,
tag rules.
I just it and again, you know, it's the talent really don't like one of the things is if they're really going to do a total revamp of the WWE, like people like Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn need to be fired. I would take the writing staff and literally by more than half send them home and let the wrestlers be wrestlers. I would let them go out there and go, look, from we're going to do a little experiment the next like 2 months. You do your own promo. We're going to give you bullet points, and we're cutting back on the writers. We're going to hand out a bunch of pink slips, and I want you guys to go out there and be fucking wrestlers. You could say you're ballerinas for all I give a shit. Say you're entertainers, but go out there, and then you watch, and you go, okay, we're going to give you a little bit more control over your in-ring persona, and you see the ones that are actually able to step up to the challenge and go, okay, wrestler A, B, and C need to have writers. So only we have, what do we have, like 30 writers? Fire 20. So we're going to keep 10 around. And then these guys, they actually are able to, wrestle in the ring, and they're able to do their promos, and the changes they're making to their thing are way better than the shit the guy's been writing. It's just bad. I don't even know how else to say it. It's like I want to go on a rant, but it's just bad. How many different ways can I say it's fucking bad?
Well, let's see. Now we move on to the celebrity portion of the show.
Oh, and I also think, real quick, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you blatantly. I think Brian Last and Jim Cornette listen to us, because I noticed, and I'm a big Brian Last fan. Like, Brian Last is actually, really pretty. I would like to meet him one day, but I noticed he's using the word jerk off a lot lately, and I'm like, that's, you gotta, that's kind of my thing there, Brian. I mean, what do you got to have? You got a beautiful kids, a beautiful wife, a growing podcast empire, millions of dollars, Jim Cornette as your co-host. Like, you gotta steal my phrase too on top of it.
So it'd be funny, low key. They be listening to our shit though.
It would be funny.
I would lose my shit to know they listen to us.
I would shit my pants.
To be honest with you,
I would actually shit my pants. And to be honest with you, I'm low key. Part of me always wondered if the show really does take off, and we somehow wind up on their radar, because we take it seriously. The novelty is we're two porn stars talking about wrestling, but we're actually legitimately, we get in and we have respect for the business and everything else, especially the one co-host is like Jim Cornette in that a lot of this shit I don't get. And I'm a little more forgiving, but to be fair to Jim, my entire life and my wife and my home and everything I own and everything else, hasn't been based off wrestling. So I take it a little less personal. A lot of people forget that. Like, everything good in Jim Cornette's life has come from wrestling. So I think he is gonna take it. If I buy a house because of me doing porn, you guarantee when I see somebody disrespecting porn or not taking it seriously, you're gonna see me get fucking bent because
that's how I am with the porn, with the Jim Cornette porn. Yes.
But actually, one of the guys on the 605 podcast follows me, and I interact with him relatively, and he's been liking a lot more of my posts lately. He's a really cool guy, and I would like to get him on a guest one day. So who knows? It is plausible that they might be like, what kind of podcast? What? But I don't think they'll give us too much time. They do Jim and Brian don't really need to worry about anybody else in the podcasting industry. They're doing their own thing, and I think I'm going to take a wild guess here, and I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay doing. I think they're going to turn. I think those kids are going to turn out just fine.
Let's get to like this celebrity portion. So we're going to begin with Logan Paul. That match, I wasn't mad at. I actually liked it.
Well, they made him look like,
I can
and
tell
the Miz
he was
deserves.
getting gassed, you know. I can tell he was getting gassed for certain
Oh yeah, well, because I'm in shape. Like I used to grapple. I haven't grappled in a while, but grappling, wrestling shape is complete. I don't care how much you bench. I don't care how much cardio you do, and I love to do cardio in the gym. In ring shape, grappling shape is a completely different thing. And if you take time off, even if you take a week off, you feel it when you go back to grapple. So I mean, I'm sure. I mean, obviously Logan's in great shape, and he took it seriously to his credit.
Yes,
And
he did.
he actually he looked better than most of the fucking WWE roster.
I was gonna say that. It's like, look, y'all need to put him in NXT.
But also they protected him and they put him in there. And I think the Miz deserves a lot of praise. One for being the fucking team player of all team players.
He called
that
match. He called it very well.
And he took the move. He didn't sandbag him. I mean, this is a guy who I think should be treated better. And I personally, if I had him and I was running a wrestling company, I would have him have at least a 12 to 14-month title reign where he's my chicken shit heel, getting people over, and making my top guy.
I think it's like, put it this way. To me, I always liked the Miz, especially as a heel.
Oh, and I always felt he can only be a heel.
Yeah, and to me, he is the old school heel. He's the Telly Blanchard. You get what I'm coming from. He's the Buddy Landale. He's that.
Actually, I got to say, I agree. I mean, I don't agree with everything Brian Last and or Jim Cornette say, but I have to say the one thing I think I would actually get into a argument or a heated discussion with Cornette about, and I met Cornette before the pandemic, and it couldn't have been an absolute, like, a really nice guy. But his opinion of the Miz, I'm like, this is a guy who, look, he's a team player. He's doing whatever. He's going to definitely retire laughing all the way to the bank. But as far as in-ring work and the way he does stuff and his ability to get genuine heat and everything else, like, I think Jim kind of undercuts him a little bit. I mean, again, I could kind of see why he would, but I think if he gave the Miz a proper chance, and I mean, again,
sometimes gonna give the Miz his props when he reviewed this match, because the Miz did everything the Miz supposed to done. And when I look at every match the Miz, I'm gonna keep it 100 with people. He's one of the guys that don't have bad matches for what he do.
He's put in shit situations, but no, I guess even when he's put in shit situations,
he make the best of it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even to the point where he really made dude look like $1 million fucking bucks.
Yeah.
And now, granted, Logan Paul did his part to make himself look $1 million bucks, because even to the point when he did the phenomenal forearm, I felt how he did it. It actually, to me, made more sense than that of a AJ Styles, because AJ Styles jumped so high to hit it.
Yeah.
Dude actually hit it the way that you probably would think you should actually hit it.
Yeah, and honestly, he I mean, and again, to his credit, he took it seriously. He wore gear, he trained, and obviously I would assume, I don't know for a fact, but I assume the Miz trained with him off camera to get him ready. Yeah. And again, Logan Paul, who is probably taking a pay cut to wrestle for the WWE, he kept his mouth shut, and he obviously listened, because I think the Miz, if Logan got cute in the ring, the Miz does not look like an ass kicker, but he's been wrestling for like 20 years. I think the Miz would have set his ass straight if Logan tried to take liberties or be a hot shot. Like, I think everything that happened in that match was called by the Miz and worked out by the Miz. And if he would have got cute, the Miz would have handled Logan.
I'm pretty sure of it. So now to the other celebrity match, Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. Damn shame the celebrities look better than the NXT 2.0. McAfee and had a good match. Once again, a lot of people don't give a lot of credit to fucking Baron Corbin. And McAfee, of course, he, as you can see, he takes it seriously.
But he needs to get some gear. Like, he looks ridiculous in the shit he wrestles in.
I was about to say the gear. Come on, Mac. It's.
And
I'm like, you look like you look like you on your podcast, nigga.
but
like,
not just that, but clothes really do make the man and make the look. Like, Logan went out there in like real tights that fit, and and real boots and so on. McAfee, again, depending, and even look at when he, what's his name, fucking the tattoo guy, the horrible broadcaster, Graves. Like, the clothes, like, again, big tall dude, muscular dude, not a small dude, but both of them kind of look smaller and more diminutive by wearing the baggy kind of clothes. It's like, look, you're an ex-football player and you're tall and you're this big dude, and again, you're not a body guy, but like, man, you should have came out in some shit that made you look, because you look like he wrestled well because he was trained by Rip Rogers. Like, I think part of the reason why these celebrities look better is that they're actually trained by real wrestlers to actually fucking wrestle. And they have it in their contract that they are not to look bad or stupid in any way. So the WWE, of course, values celebrities over their own people that they actually make the money on. And they're taught how to do things the right way. But he just looked like a dopey 14-year-old kid out there in that gear. Like, it was kind of distracting. I mean, he does good and he respects the industry, but he just, it's like, you stand and your body motion and everything, you look, I'm getting 14-year-old boy here, and I know you're a grown ass man, but that's what I'm getting.
Now, I'm gonna ask you this question. We're gonna go off on a tangent real quick. Now, and it's just a what if. Which one do you think would WWE consider putting the title on?
Out of those two?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Logan, because he's actually, I don't think McAfee would really want to be full-time wrestler. He's got like other shit going on. And honestly, unless he's gonna actually like do the part 100% and kind of look more presentable as a wrestler, I don't want to see it. But I could see them doing it with Logan. But again, it's it's kind of when people were giving shit to Dominic, it's like, look, it really depends if you're in the ring with the right person, because it's a 2-person dance, and it also takes like a certain level of experience. You can be protected only so much. And it's ironically, we kind of make comparisons. It's the same way in porn. Like I just said, Rita and Melissa made me look like $1 million. I knew what to do and everything, but they made me look amazing. And when I work with like a newer girl, it's the same thing. She's like, it's like, don't worry, I'm going to make sure you are in the position you're supposed to be in, or that you're in the angle, or I'm going to make sure you're shot in a way that makes you always look good. And because even though you're new, it's like, you're going to look like you've been doing this a while, and it takes experience and skill. I wouldn't put the belt on either one of these guys, any belt. But again, this is WWE. There's no room for logic here.
So now we have the women's match with Rousey and Liv Morgan, which basically Rousey dominated. Now, it was a wonderful, funny ass botch.
Y'all think that was down?
Nah, it wasn't. Okay, the tangent we're gonna go off on is something that Jim Cornette said, and also it proves my point that the old school wrestlers were better wrestlers. Okay, it was a spot during that match where it supposed to be, what I'm talking about, where Rousey had her trying to do the armbar, and it supposed to be Liv reverses it and put her in a submission hold. She botched it the first go around. So what they did was they laid for a second, then they struggled. Then she got back to the same position that she was in, And then they actually got the move right. Now, it got me to thinking in the territory, and especially the guys on the fly, if it was a spot like that, they would have worked something else and then eventually came back to that spot. So, but either way, the match itself was, to me, it was not the best women's card on the match. I get you put it because Ronda has to be main eventish. I get it, but I don't think it made Liv look better. And Liv is your champ. It probably did more for Ronda than it did Liv.
I mean, I've heard from several sources that apparently she's not really being the greatest champion, or she's not, like, that's why they had her with Natalia. But it's like, she's been around a minute. She shouldn't need that kind of coddling at this point in her career. I can't really comment on her reign up to this point because I haven't seen any of her stuff. I think they were
talking about Liv.
Yeah, I think they were attempting to make like Ronda Rousey the next Brock, as far as like showing up and being a world beater and blah blah blah, but they've mismanaged that. I don't know. I thought it was a plan. I thought it was a planned thing just to keep the belt on, because
of course. I mean, because the way that the ending went, period. It also left it open for her to come back and challenge. But me personally, I don't want to see them two wrestle again. Because I mean, it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? What I'm looking for? It's Liv. I like Liv, but I don't think her time as champion is now. Because Liv, I don't think has built up enough cachet for me to feel that it's like this. I can see Alexa Bliss in this role right now, not Liv. You get what I'm coming from?
Yeah, I mean,
because it was kind of like with Liv, even though they were trying to do it to where she was working from underneath the whole time. Because of course, this is Ronda Rousey. She's going to throw her around. She throw men around like it's pillows, so how hard is it for her to do this female? And she would have to outsmart the champ. You feel what I'm coming from? To get a win. The way that they did the finish, it didn't make me feel like she outsmarted her, like she got lucky. And I don't think that what Liv needed to win for her title reign to be considered legit or to even be strong. You feel what I'm coming from?
Well, yeah, because you're using logic and you actually are trying to make your champion look good, which is the whole fucking point of wrestling, is that your champion is supposed to be heads above the best. Like Ric Flair is the best, period, because he's the champ. And then, here we have Ricky Steamboat and Ricky. Yeah, but can Ricky beat the best? And when you beat the champion, it's a big, wait for it, a big fucking deal. And then now all of a sudden everyone's looking at this guy completely different. And
and even to the way that the match ended with Ronda going crazy, right? Which I'm pretty sure they're even going to say she's suspended for a minute. They probably give Liv her a run for a minute. But even to the point that I don't believe that Liv would come back the next episode, the next Raw, and say, or SmackDown and say, fuck this, I want Ronda Rousey. You took away my spot. You being a badass. You get what I'm coming from? It's kind of like the way you left it is that you kind of want your champion to come out and call out Ronda Rousey for a fight. You get me? Because of what Ronda did at the end, because she attacked her at the end. So it's kind of like, to me, the match wasn't that good. I felt it shouldn't have been on that part of the card. To be honest with you, the Bianca Belair should have been that match, and Ronda should have been the one that started it. But that's just me. I don't think they did a good job of putting Liv over.
I mean, they don't do a good job on anything because again, they just the rest, regardless of what people think and the different types of fans, wrestling logic, as quote unquote, made sense for over close to 70, 80 years, and it made money, and guys took, especially in the territory days, took like a gimmick or stunt and took it territory to territory with them, and it always drew. Or that's why, the Kentuckians always followed the Assassins or vice versa, because, they would do the same thing in every territory, and it drew money because there was a logic to it. You can have modern day angles and modern day stuff to, but it has to fucking make sense. And, you can't just, again, in porn, if I, again, just because I saw a video of her or a clip of her before we started the show, that's why she's on my mind. But Sarah J being my maid, and then me, and all of a sudden some wacky circumstance, and now I'm fucking the shit out of her, and she's loving it like it's the greatest thing she's ever endured. That happened because I was producing the scene, or somebody hired us, and that's what they told us to do. So therefore, there you go. But in wrestling, a lot you're doing it in front of a live crowd, and you're trying, and it's an ongoing weekly thing. It's it's not going to be every week. She's got to put on the maid outfit again. Oh, gee, how's Billy going to fuck her this week? Is he going to pop out of the closet? Is he going to drop from the sky? Is he going to reach out from the dishwasher? It's this stuff has to make sense. And also, a couple of years ago, me being on camera with her wouldn't have been believable. Now, it's a little bit more believable. It depends on your opinion of me, but it's now it makes a little bit more sense if you ever see us work together. It makes a little bit more sense because I've been presented in a better way over a period of time. They had fucking they had fucking McIntyre come out looking like a goddamn, he just won the Tom of Finland award with a sword. And talking to some fucking kid and just standing in the middle of the thing, giving a speech with a sword. And it's what does this fucking serve? This guy, first of all, don't have him come out like this. Have him win matches. Have him look good while he's doing it. Have the champ kind of.
If you were gonna have him come out, he comes out and stares down Roman fucking Reigns at the end.
Yeah,
that's how you go off, because that's supposed to be your next big match.
And here's the other thing: enough with the fucking kids. Okay, just enough with the fucking kids. I get it. The kid's sick. The kid stubbed a toe. The kid's dad is a douchebag. I don't know. Whatever the fucking story is. Don't just do the Make-A-Wish or whatever. This kind of cornbread, wholesome, middle America bullshit fan babyface thing doesn't fly anymore. And I don't give a shit. It's like you're trying to maintain some kind of integrity, continuity here. Having a kid with cancer come out and beat a guy, yeah, you know what? It's really sweet. And now this kid is gonna go to his grave with a great memory. You didn't cure the cancer. You just gave him something to think about in the last 10 minutes of his life. But now you have a guy that if he came back through the curtain, I would look at him and go, you know what? I really appreciate you doing that for that kid. You're a hell of a human being. I'm going to give you a bonus. And you're fired, because there's no way I could ever push you again as a heel, because you just lost to a fucking kid. Oh, that was sick with cancer. So you can't even beat up a healthy kid. You're no good to me. It's and why? So people who aren't really wrestling fans can see it on the news maybe, or on their social media feed and go, oh, isn't that lovely? And, it's dumb, bad PR. It's just a lot of shit they do. It's you don't need to do this, or you need to stop doing this. It makes no sense. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that might be listening to this going, oh, come on. Yeah, guess what? Don't give a shit the kid's sick. Don't give a fuck if he's got 3 weeks to live. you're trying to do something here. There's 1,000 different ways you can make this kid's life amazing. If you wanted to evolve him, you can do something that really make him happy and like have him involved in a plot where like, you know, he's kind of going to be at ringside being more of support. You know, let the kid take a little bit of a bump. I guarantee the kid would love that a lot more. And then the good guy prevails. But, oh, he's got cancer. I'm like, yeah. And I got a bitch of an ex-wife. Like, what do you got? Like, what the fuck do you want from me? Like, I'm running a business. I'm trying to run the show that's believable. You know, it's like enough. It's a fucking enough. And also, I don't want to be reminded of kids dying or kids like horrible life when I'm trying to be entertained. You know, that's kind of what really comes to forefront is that this kid is like really at death's door. So they're going through all this trouble. And also, it's always nice that the kid is like an adorable kid. I never seen one ugly kid get a fucking, you know, an ounce of TV time, but whatever, you know. But yeah, it's like I don't give a fuck. Enough with this stupid shit. You made him look like a horse's ass, so I don't give a like. You buried McIntyre so much. It's like he probably fire him, let him disappear again for 2 years, rebuild himself again, so you can come back and fuck him up again. You know, and now the main event's kind of starting, and of course, you know, Brock has all day is taking time to go into the. Oh, what the fuck is this? There's a tractor.
You watch? Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, and he's putting on a flannel. So apparently now so McAfee looks like Tom of Finland. He's putting on a thing. What do you call it? Apparently everybody's going to like a village people party, theme party after SummerSlam because everybody. You got the cowboy, you got the farmer, you know, you got the Leatherman, Abby McIntyre. It's like. And I say to you, young man, young man, when you feel down, why do you make me watch this shit?
Okay, well, let me go ahead and give you the tea on this.
I knew I should have went to the YMCA instead of doing this.
This is the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns in a last man standing match.
I'm going to stop you real quick. If Brock Lesnar in a leather cowboy hat riding a tractor, I know he's supposed to be cool, some kind of badass, but this is gayer than 3 guys blowing 4 guys with 1 dick left over to go in the ear. It's like this is the gayest, and not in a good way, gay where like 2 men are gonna fuck each other, like not like where men are gonna fuck other men to orgasm, like naturally the way God intended men to fuck other men. This is gay like. Hey, Bobby, why is this party so lame? Oh, it's that gay over there. That's because he's ruining the party. Like, it's that kind of gay. It's like the bad kind of gay. Not the good kind of gay that makes Christians mad when men have sex and it's natural. But this is like a bad, like, you know, like, oh, like I'm filled with sadness that no cocksucking is about to happen. Like, this is all this gayness and no dick is going to make an appearance to get sucked. And it's makes me very sad.
Well, the match was actually pretty good. It was very physical. I mean, they did everything they could to each other.
I mean, they obviously, because they've wrestled each other like for the last 6-7 years. Like, that's just one match. WWE just, if literally, if you took this match away, you'd be like kicking a crutch out from a one-legged man. And now they've beaten this match to death so much, they've now had to include a fucking tractor.
Yes, they did include the tractor. In every which way. From dumping Roman out of the tractor to actually using the tractor to lift up the ring.
Wait a minute. They literally used the tractor to lift up the fucking ring.
Yes, they did.
For fuck's sake. Were the monkeys busy? Were they booked? There was no monkeys to hire. There was no clowns.
Because Ollie, this was a marriage of what was it? I think. What did he say? He said the beer drinking, the beer spearing, the implosion. Okay, the implosion of the ring when they did the suplex, him and the Big Show. And the beer spraying thing that
the beer truck
with the beer truck. Now, it to me, logically speaking, and because maybe just made my head hurt.
I have to.
It was nothing that was going to make Roman stay down for 10 seconds. Then you lifting up the ring and pouring him out of the ring.
I mean, like Roman has been doing such an amazing job as a heel and as a champion. But the thing is, you got a guy coming out of the tractor, and it's Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar obviously is a fucking trained killer and everything. And I know he's supposed to be this like dead-eyed, cool heel, but it's a thing of it didn't. Whatever Brock was trying to achieve with that, the fact that like Roman's looking at him like, dude, what are you doing? It made it like an even bigger fart in church. Like instead of being like, "What the fuck? He can't come down here with that. What's going on? I'm gonna leave. I'm not putting up with this." And it just it didn't work. Like I get that people in the stadium who are hardcore WWE fans or probably some fans are just like, "Hey, let's just go to it. It's something to do." I got a kick out of it, but as far as actual actual wrestling, like Roman didn't play it off right, and Brock, again, as much of a badass as he is, didn't look like a fucking badass, slowly driving a tractor down in his little leather cowboy hat. So far, I hope it was a physical match because
it was a very physical match. I mean, to me, if you took away that tractor trailer, to me, this could have been an Artist Perfect 5 to 6 star match because that's how good the match was initially. It started off hot. They went back and forth. It was very physical back and forth because the movements that they did made sense because everything they tried to do was to keep that person down for 10. And it took, at the end, Brock being completely buried with debris for him to stay down for a 10 count. With the help, of course, of the Usos. And add in Theory, Austin Theory, which I hope they start calling him that after a while. Tried to cash in, which is the rant that I did earlier, tried to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase during a last man standing match. And around the time where the ring was pretty much useless within this match at this point in time. And not only that, he didn't even get to cash it in because he got taken out by Brock. So it was kind of like you did all this to basically protect Brock, but you also left it open that Brock can challenge for the title. Because me personally, this, I bet not hear nothing about Brock versus Roman for the next 2 fucking years.
Oh no, they're gonna keep bringing it back and bringing it back and bringing it back because that's what they
can't honestly. Okay, I get. Okay, this is not Vince McMahon's WWE no more. I hope and pray that the one and only Triple H does not bring this back or run this back no time soon, unless you're going to put the belt on Brock, and that because in wrestling logic, because this is the guy that ran NXT and used a lot of wrestling logic within NXT. Part of the reason why UK has not been touched is no logical explanation on God's green earth for you to have Brock challenge Roman in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
I mean, it's just they're gonna. I guarantee you, they're gonna keep finding. They're gonna keep finding ways to. They're gonna keep finding ways to bring him back, and they're gonna keep this. This is not the last time you're gonna see this match because this is their go-to. Because again, they've mismanaged the talent, and again, everything I've been ranting and raving about, like a psychotic patient.
And they tried to feed Drew McIntyre to him.
And who gives a fuck? Because they spent the last, I don't know how many years burying the fucking guy after they went through all the trouble building him up. The only good thing about this current run where he's going to do the job is that Randy Orton is out of commission right now, and he can't take part in the burying.
Well, too, because they're doing this shit over there in England. So it's kind of like, well, we got to have somebody from over there to challenge Roman. But once again, you had him beat. Roman has beaten him. It's kind of like y'all have booked yourself. Even though, yes, McMahon is gone, you still have booked yourself up because you have no newer talent. You have no newer talent that could challenge Roman for that belt. And we can honestly believe that y'all are willing to take the belt off of this man because Roman will probably have the belt for another fucking year because the simple fact of that they are so determined to try to convince The Rock, who is right now has no fucking reason other than I'm just going to do it for a favor for my family. To even come back to wrestle Roman.
And again, he's every day he's becoming a bigger and bigger star. There's no reason why there's no reason what again the same thing with John Cena. It's like they're becoming big. They're becoming big stars. There's a lot of money involved. There's no. I can't see any studio in their right mind or anybody that has any of the billions of dollars invested in The Rock or John Cena in these. And here's the thing, too. They're not just big movie actors now. They're a part of actual ongoing franchises. In The Rock, actually, no, I stand corrected. In Cena, too, multiple ongoing franchises. So no, for one stupid match where it's almost a guarantee they're gonna get injured because they haven't been wrestling, and it's again it's the WWE's fault because that's what you always going on about in that you have the champ, you have the guy the champ's currently in a feud with. If you have the territory hot enough, he might have multiple challengers, like when Flair was played with Lex and Dusty and Sting and Steamboat. They were all coming after him at once. But then you should always have one or two guys in the upper card in the mix, good or heel or babyface, ready once the one program is done to step in and be viable. And they don't. I don't even understand what they're trying to go for other than just ratings. But you fired half your roster, and then you basically beat everybody to powder, and you keep bringing back people from the past that aren't going to be full time, and you make the guys that I see on TV every week look like a horse's ass. And like I said, that's why I call Randy Orton the Apex Albatross, because whenever they crown somebody new as a champion, like a new guy, they put him in Orton, and Orton just owns them throughout the entire feud, usually beats them for the belt. So even when they win it back, you just got lucky because Randy's been making you look like a $2 bitch coming up $1 short for the last 2 months, and you never looked bad, never really left laying. So it's like, okay, I don't care about fucking McIntyre now anymore. I don't fucking care. Like, if he's gonna wrestle Reigns now, I have to go to the store. We gotta end the podcast. I gotta go to the store and buy a fuck so I can watch the match. I hope they're not out.
Because I'm sorry, Because
Luckily,
to me,
I
it's
saved my money for my paper route. I could go buy a fuck.
right there. I see they're building up. That
Build these nuts.
even him, I can't even see them putting him over on Roman. It's
No.
probably period.
The only one still, and they're gonna. And you're right that he's probably gonna have the match for a number of years, the match belt for a while now. Is because the only one that actually was any viable star power was Cody. But Cody, and again, it could have been just a nagging injury that it could just be bad luck, but also to WWE and their WWE style, I really believe leads to more injuries than not. Yeah, no, it's the WWE's fault, and again, they're gonna do a lot of shiny shit to get people to not talk about Vince, and then but again, you buried so many guys that just made them like everybody else or just unimportant. You know, it's again not. I'm gonna, you know what? Fuck it. I'm being forced to watch this bullshit, so I'm gonna beat a point to death if I want to. Rita Daniels. I worked with somebody with not as like nowhere near as much experience, but I treat her with the same respect I treated Daniels. But when I worked with Rita, and when I was in her presence, I treated her like a star and like she was special because I could show equal amounts of respect to the same performer. But Rita is a star and Rita is special. And when I talk about working with her, I put a little more emphasis and a little bit more awe in the description because Rita is the main event and she's special. You know, they've lost that knack. It's like, okay, every other guy you got on the roster is just a fucking guy. The only star you got is Roman, and then you got Brock. And Brock, I think, is ever slowly getting tired of this shit and or on the way out. You know, and it's WWE's fault. And are they going to do the work to actually fix this shit? I'm going to go with probably no, because I don't think Triple H is as in charge. And by the way, too, I've been wanting to say this the whole show. This new revisionist history on Vince and how everybody is like, oh, poor Vince. We love the dude. Like, please, fucking spare me this bullshit. Like, he's this great altruistic person, and that he, you know, at the end of the day, this fucking guy has done more damage to wrestling than he's done good. So this new weird wave of sympathy and like adulation, like he died, like all of you seriously need to grow the fuck up and like, I don't know, come meet me at the store where I'm buying my fuck, and I'll spring and I'll buy you a clue. So it's just stupid. Like they dug themselves in the hole and they deserve to be in that hole. And if I were Brock, I would. Now's the time to really hold them over the coals to make more money, because the only person viable to beat Reigns is, guess who? Brock.
Yes, because I can't see Theory doing it.
No, you just made him. From what I've been told and what I already saw, they could not make him. If he came out in a tutu with a literal dick in his ass, he couldn't look like more of a bitch. This guy's supposed to be the future, and yet.
But then again, I also keep forgetting the only other person that I can think of that Reigns had not actually had a match against is really Bobby.
But again, they buried Bobby. They buried Bobby worse than they did. You know, they did McIntyre, and they put all their eggs in the basket, and they just did. You know, it's gonna be interesting because you know, to see how they dig themselves out of this hole. If I were Triple H, I really would get rid of all the I would get rid of the entire Vince McMahon administration. I would bring back guys like Road Dogg or whatever, even though at times he's not been the best of writers. Like I would get Regal back, but if Regal were still unemployed, I would bring Regal back. You know, I would probably make him the head of talent relations. You know, I would bring guys back, and you know, if you're gonna really do it, then you really need to bring back. You really need to improve the product, because the product is bad, and the only reason why it's afloat is because it is the biggest company, and they have all these contracts, and they're basically willing to take money from anyone, Saudi Arabia, and they're willing to do anything to stay on TV. So, like to the point where even Vince is gonna fake. You know that killed him. The fake retiring. You know that it's gonna bother him until the day he dies. They gotta at least pretend that he retired.
Drove him nuts.
Because he was pissed that him hopping off the steps. Like that's how much of a control freak he is. Like people are gonna give a shit that look, he's skipping. It's like, you know, like well, he couldn't have been a fucking sexist, you know, predatory scumbag that just paid people off. Look, he's skipping. No skipping man in his 70s can be possible of any of this evil doing. You know, I don't know. It's just, and now Brock's back on the tractor.
Yeah, I told you it got extra. Like I said, to me,
and now,
the match was a damn good match. I'm not even going front.
No, but it's with the fucking and he's now he's new, and he just tore up the ring. Okay. See, but this is the thing. This is how much of a hole they're in, that literally they just destroyed a ring and again the tractor and, you know, so on and so forth. Like, this is how much. Talk about a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat. You know, it's that to me. I guess if you're a kid or a teenager, it's a cool little visual. I see nothing but desperation. I see nothing but look at the shiny watch. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. I mean, I don't know. I really, it's, I don't know.
Well, and that's our review of SummerSlam.
Well, I take it Roman won, and I'm assuming at some point, what do you call it? That shit. God, this is actually lowering my IQ. That Theory comes out with one name and gets humiliated. You know, because why not? I mean, okay, yeah.
I told you, it's to me, they now they're in the new regime, supposedly. You know, which me personally, my heart of hearts, I could be wrong that Tripp is running this. And like I said, for me, to summarize this, we can move on to old school, that this was he used this moment, he used this pay-per-view to say, this is a new day for us. I'm in control.
Oh.
And he ended, because like I said.
Oh. You didn't tell me this.
But,
no, fucking big fat ass Heyman just took a bump.
Yeah, bump. Yeah,
that's the most impressive thing on the show right there. That's burying the lead. That's actually, out of everything I've seen, the most impressive thing. And Heyman took it. Like, Heyman took it. He didn't fuck around.
Get up, nigga. He sold that bitch beautifully.
I mean, if this is I don't know. I think they missed I guess it was different. It looked like another WWE pay-per-view. I didn't really sense anything different.
To me, it felt like business as usual. Actually, it didn't even feel like a pay-per-view. It felt like a special Raw. But and the only why I said Raw because this pay-per-view was about 3 hours.
Again, I'm going to attempt to be fair because I do like Triple H, that it takes time because you have to undo. And here's the thing, the average back in the day, when a territory was down was 3 months to, like, you know, if you start right now, 3 months with a new booker, blah, blah, blah. Whereas so much damage has been done, it might take longer than 3 months to fix all this shit. But
because now they got to build cohesive, you know, what's what I'm looking for? Cohesive
storylines, narrative, talent.
Now to build up superstars, because during the Vince era, they had nobody that could actually come because it like this. you have to get the belt off of Roman at the next WrestleMania. And if unless, because one, I don't see The Rock being the main event against him. So, and do you really want this dude to have a Bruni Sammartino type run where he's damn near champ for a decade? I mean, honestly.
I mean, it just, I don't know. I mean, again, it's just so bad. I'm not, and again, I don't watch the product on purpose. So I would have to, and again, the TV is just, it's just too bad to get to. See, Jim and Brian do it because they make a fucking King's Ransom on the podcast. So, like, you know, Jim's not stupid, as we all know. So he'll sit there because, you know, he's getting, unlike everybody else, he's at least getting something out of watching the show, a big fat paycheck. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a big sponsor for the show, and then I'll suffer through it. But they just have so much to undo. And also, here's the other little thing I would do. Fucking celebrities coming in and beating up your wrestlers and winning. No Bad Bunny. If Logan's going to be a wrestler, then have him be a wrestler. No more McAfee, or have him beat people that don't really matter, like Corbin. Like, no more celebrities. No more celebrities getting the upper hand on the guys that are actually the reason why you're worth $1 billion. Because they're the ones that have to be at TV next week. Somebody asked me this weekend. I was working with Arya again. She came into town, and I worked with her again. We shot, you know, the first time we shot, the camera work wasn't what it should have been. And she asked me, you know, we were talking about stuff, you know, I want to be able to do a lot of different things. And she's like, would you do cuckolding? And I said, well, if I'm the one doing the actual cuckolding, sure, but I'm not going to be the guy sitting in the chair. I'm like, I won't do it. It'll make me look bad. And also, no one's going to pay me the money to do it. And even then, if they did pay me the money, I'm not sure if I want to do it. You make your, you know, because I got to still sell my product. I still got to sell my brand. You have a guy, Bad Bunny, beat up or do moves on guys. You know, again, respect to him for taking it seriously, but he's a rapper, and you just had to beat up a wrestler. How much of an idiot would Tom Brady look like if I actually outthrew him in, like, you know, a little competition of getting the ball through the tire, and I made him look bad? Like, would I mean, great, like, and then he played the next Sunday for Tampa. Like, you know how bad that would make everybody, the team, everything look. It does so much damage when they have celebrities come in and actively compete and humiliate the people that are essentially the foundation of the company. That's got to stop, and that should have stopped. Actually, it never should have started, but that should have stopped after Mr. T. They never should have done it again. No, I'm sorry, Lawrence Taylor, Mr. T. Only 2 times they should have done it, and they never should do it ever again.
Well, now we're done with. Now we're done with. Now we're done with that. Now it's on to the old school.
Yeah. And don't worry, folks. You know, we're both a little out of shape. We haven't podcasted in a couple weeks, and a lot of shows. So this is going to be a relatively short ode to the old school. Not because I don't love doing the segment, but because, again, with wrestling history still being spotty at some stages, you know, it's hard to kind of gather the information. But we're doing the part 2 of the LBGT, you know, in wrestling segment. We covered Pat Patterson in the last segment. You know, we missed. You know, it's a little past Pride, but you know, it's still, we want to recognize these great talents. And one of the great talents was, and we talked about it before, Sandy Parker, who was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, in 1952, and she, up until, like, I want to say in the last couple of years, has finally kind of come back into historical references or significance because, thanks to all these wrestling historians. But she was not only the first female black world champion, but also an openly gay woman, and was kind of a draw to success throughout her career. I mean, she didn't go the normal route. Like, she worked, normally in those days you had to deal with moolah, and she did it for a brief period of time, but that did not pan out, and Sandy was not somebody who was going to take that kind of BS, and she worked for Mildred Burke for a period of time. But her biggest claim to fame is that in the early 1970s, she formed a tag team with Sue Green, and they won the NWA World Tag Team Champions in Japan, making her the first black, openly gay female world champion, and especially doing it in a country and a culture like Japan is a huge deal. Oh, no, sorry, I stand corrected. I apologize. It was the WWWA World Tag Team Champions in Japan, in All Japan, in 1973. She was a world champion at the NWA Tag Championship with Donna Christinello, and that was sorry. Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, because I'm getting a lot of static on your thing. Sorry. And also, she was also the WW All Japan Women's WWA Heavyweight Champion. She was the single champion and the tag champion in Japan. She beat Mayako Hoshino in July 26, 1972, to become the first single black world heavyweight champion. She held that belt for 56 days, and it was her only world title reign. But she was significant not only for being the first black world champion, but in the time in the 60s and 70s, being a female wrestler, it was hard enough being a black woman, let alone a female wrestler. But she was openly lesbian, which again, to achieve what she achieved was unbelievably stellar and brave. She lived to be 70 years old. And then the second wrestler that we are going to talk about today is a man that's become the stuff of urban legend, Chris Colt. Now, again, openly gay or bi wrestler. He was a journeyman wrestler. He kind of was part of several different tag teams and several different gimmicks, but kind of, later in his career started adapting a very Alice Cooper, King Diamond kind of look, and really started to catch heat. He had a good run in Portland as well as in Arizona and in Detroit. I posted a clip of him on Twitter. He had this amazing flying elbow, and ironically, some of the things like again, being openly gay, as well as or bi, he was kind of a wild child, and also a prolific drinker and a drug user. And it was led to believe that he was actually a better worker when he was high. People preferred when he was high. One of the most famous stories about Chris Colt was that he was involved in a steel cage match, and I believe it was New Mexico, or I want to say Arizona, and he was on LSD, and he thought giant spiders were trying to climb into the cage. So he spent the entire match, and again, this is a real cage match where you win by pinfall, and not the stupid WWE rule where you have to get out of the cage. So he's trying to climb out of the cage. He's the heel already, but he's trying to climb out of the cage because he legitimately believes gigantic spiders are trying to climb into the cage. And I'm not gonna lie to you, if you see that, my ass is gone. And he basically calls it a near riot because he was whipping the crowd into such a frenzy because they thought he was trying to be a chicken shit heel. But really, it was just a acid-induced hallucinogen fit. In Portland, he had to be coaxed out of a tree where he befriended a baby bear cub, and because he was high, he decided to climb a tree and befriend a cub, and the other wrestlers he's in the car with were afraid that Mama Bear is going to be coming back, and they had to basically coax him out of the tree, and he was so heartbroken that he had to leave the bear cub that he was like inconsolable for the rest of the road trip to the arena because he was so heartbroken. He was so high, he was heartbroken that he had to leave the bear behind. And he never really quite hit it big because of some of his personal demons and his lifestyle. There's so much. I mean, more and more is kind of coming out about him now, so we're getting more cohesive history. But he kind of disappeared from the wrestling world, and there were some rumors that he went into gay porn, or he was dealing drugs, or did time for drugs, or died of AIDS, and none of that is true. But he had such a reputation, and as just again pushing the envelope and being. I mean, I think in this day and age, a Chris Colt in his full powers would be a headline grabber and be, shaking a lot of fucking trees. But if you're able to find some of the few scraps of stuff on his on YouTube, he really was a good wrestler and actually knew how to work that psychology. And you could definitely tell there was something unique, different about him. He was definitely one of a kind. I'm hoping somebody can actually put out a full-on comprehensive book on him. I think that would be a read. But he was openly gay, openly bi, and again, also like Sandy Parker, the boys didn't care because Sandy and Colt were the boys, and they knew how to behave. At least even when they were out in the open, they knew how to kind of handle themselves in the locker room and in the ring, and the wrestlers just didn't care. They cared if Chris was high because they knew they were in for an easier night, but they didn't care that he was gay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, okay then.
But that's basically it. Like I've been still trying to do research because again, a little bit more every month seems to kind of come up about them. So we'll probably be talking about Chris Colt and Sandy Parker again on this show because they were such, I think, culturally historic wrestlers. But again, it's kind of piecemeal of who can pull up new footage or find new facts or stories about them. But
the fact that Sandy Parker won a world title in Japan, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, she won a tag title and the singles title. The first black lesbian. That's a big deal. And like you said, in Japan, in the 70s, and she was a star there because I think the next year won the tag title. So they. It didn't matter, and in Japan, usually gaijins don't have long reigns. They're lucky if they get the title defense in before they drop the belt back. But yeah, no, she was an early big star and also it was a big deal that they had All Japan women in the 70s and a company all to themselves.
Yeah, that's so. There you go, people. We gave you the show, and we gave you some serious shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to fuck one of the biggest stars in porn, and then watch a grown man tractor a ring in a supposed serious wrestling match.
Oh my God, I cannot unsee that.
I mean, I you know what? I'm gonna become a wrestler. I'm gonna come out with a clown car and I'm gonna come out in a small clown car, and then heel after heel after heel after heel is gonna come out of the clown car throughout the match and constantly interfere until I win.
I swear. You're like, something. They haven't beat him clean.
Yeah. I mean,
gotta leave something open if we want to go back to that match. Now, here's a thought, WWE. Build new talent.
Yeah, no, I mean, I again, it's so bad. The situation that they put themselves in is so bad that I know people find my rants funny, but I don't even know if I can make this funny. It's just kind of like
It actually is.
it's like when I'm not like when you're mad at it's like I'm not mad at your son. I'm disappointed. I'm not mad, WWE. I'm disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed.
So with that being said, Billy, tell everybody where to spend money on you, man.
Well, my Twitter is Billy Pilgrim XXX, and I'm on Instagram at Billy Pilgrim 3, the number 3X. Basically, BillyPilgrim.XXX.com, Billy Pilgrim XXX on many vids. Essentially, the right now. They're gonna be up and running. Like that's what I'm working on all this week. I tried to get it done before Exxxotia, and some of the videos are up on many vids. I have about 3 videos up on many vids. Billy Pilgrim XXX, and these sites, their software sucks, and then you add in my retardation with post production. It takes a minute, but by the time at the end of the next podcast, they'll be up and running, and you'll be able to go and purchase, and I'll be promoting and pushing those channels going on from this point on. It took a while. There were several reasons for that, but we're here now. And if you are going to bed tonight and you hear fuck being bellowed in the distance, it's not death. That's not ghost. That's just me working on getting these platforms up and running and editing. So, so it's not the ghost from old man Johnson's farm. It's just me trying to get shit on many vids with their shitty fucking software.
So with that being said, people, you know how we always get these shows, man. Life is a learning experience. What's the point of the experience? Didn't learn anything. Smoke this over. Billy, sign off for the people.
Until next time, when it's Vader time, we'll see you then.
And you must be professional to drive a tractor.
Men are so visual too. Like if you're just doing like a lot of, they just love it, and it's on their wallet.
It's like all I could hear was just slurs, not just racial slurs, like the F word, the N word, some other word I don't even know how to spell. Like a bunch of slurs, very derogatory words, calling people names.
Supposed to be in a society where we're supposed to be more progressive.
Especially because there's so many down low people in the bike community, even in Latino culture, because it's so frowned upon from our elders that a lot of people don't even feel comfortable saying it out loud. And so they have these set
interested in finding the new girl, and I think there's still a lot of companies out there that are still interested in that. But for me, I don't have patience. I just don't. I don't have patience.
And I can color correct them to shoot like a boy-girl scene. I was like, buddy, this is too much. And we get ready to shoot. There's a camera behind me and a light. That's all. The bright light. Every time I move away from it, you see the light. And I was like, can I please move it? He's like, afterward, he's like, you can take the camera out editing. Nobody's trying to do that. Nobody.
because we can't deny that these things are affecting all of us. We all have families that have children in school, and it just doesn't really feel safe right now out there in the climate. And if you can completely distract yourself from that, good on you for having